Okay, I'm not going to go into that much detail, just lift up the projects that we've looked at. I think I'll start out by just saying that, I think Mark's already mentioned that it's going to be kind of, not that a building project is more labor intense than doing a carnival. I mean, there's a lot of work and all that stuff. And Power considers all projects, whether carnivals or building projects, let's consider those big projects. For reasons that Mark's already said, we'll be doing less of the others and more of the building. So it is going to be more labor intense this year. Starting out in Acuna, we met with Pastor Pat down there, or the missionary Pat there at Faith Mission. He showed us, actually, I think it's probably been almost the first year that we've almost picked all the projects that he showed us. Before in the past, he shows us 8 or 9 projects. Out of those, we picked 3 or 4 we really feel we can do, maybe a couple of standby projects. But this year he showed us 4 or 5, and we basically picked all of them. They're sizable projects. If you remember the last year, actually last couple of years, we built 2 churches for Pastor Jaime, and then last year I can't remember the name of the pastor we built the church for. It was a 28 and 54-foot building that we built. And we completed that building in its entirety. We did the drywall installation, trim, caulked it out, did everything but painting it. So this year we have a church for actually he's the founder of the church, is Pastor Juan Gillen, and there's an associate pastor there. I'm going to call her, refer to as an associate pastor, is Juanita, Pastor Juanita. Her husband died here, not sure why, about 9 months ago he died for some reason. So now she is, for the lack of a better term, associate pastor. I'm not sure exactly where they're meeting at right now, but they do have a building, a block building, the Sunday school things that they're building on the site now. We're going to come alongside that building and build a 28 and 54-foot building. This particular size building is, like I said, what we did last year. It seems to be a nice sized building for some of the people that we run into. We're also actually going to be building for the first time this year a second church, same size, for Pastor Hugo, who is also the founder of this church. And then they have associate pastor there is Jose Luis, who actually pastors that church, him and his wife. So we're going to be building 2 churches. The difference between the 2 churches this year is the second church, we don't really feel we can get it completely all the way through. So the first church I mentioned, we're going to try to get it like we normally do, completely done, all drywalled, ready to paint by them. Second church, we're basically going to try to get the outside all shelled, get it weather tight, do the inside electrical on it, and then we're probably going to go further with it on that. It just kind of depends on the amount of people that we have and the time frame. Okay. Another project we have in Acuna is building an 18 by 24-foot home for Vicente and Cecilia Juarez. Okay. What happened there is their house got burned down because the house next to them got burned down. It's a long story, but the house next to them got caught on fire and it burned their house down too. Not exactly sure. Mark and him probably know, maybe Johnson might know what the relationship is that Pat has with this couple, but Pat doesn't show us any projects that he's not 100% behind and that are really good projects. So this is one we're going to be building. This particular project, we're also going to take it all the way through its entirety, insulate it, drywall it, get it ready for painting on the inside and the out. We have another church that we looked at. This particular church is Pastor Lucille's church. And what he has right now is a 33 by 57-foot block building, okay? But there's no roof on it. A lot of times we come across projects like that where all we need to do is just go in and build the trusses and set the roof and put the metal on, that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to be doing with this particular church. He has a little church that sits right next to it. I'm not sure exactly how many people he has. Not that that's ever a real concern of ours. I mean, if it's a growing church, that's all we're really concerned about. So, but I know that the church he's in now, it's a small, narrow church, but it added on to 3 different times. So we're going to be building a truss system for him. And then if you remember last year, we did a house for Pat's sister-in-law, Elise. For the lack of funding, she has not been able to do the outside stucco on the house. So it's kind of a no-brainer little project. So we're going to send a few guys over to kind of do that. So that's actually we have 4 big projects here and then this little one. Moving on down El Cenizo. Mark mentioned that it was 3 and 4 trips back is when we were there. Okay, in El Cenizo. We met a man there at that time on the trip, 4 trips back, David Burkett. And I remember he came up to me and we were doing some block work and some other miscellaneous stuff there. And also we were doing the community projects, mostly on that particular site. And he had mentioned to me that he did building across over in the Nuevo Laredo area. So that's kind of how we first met Mr. Burkett. And so anyway, this year we're going to be, most of our work is going to be, a good percentage of the work is going to be on his site. He has, I don't know if you remember the church he has there now. It's a much larger church now. He has some other buildings on site. So we're going to be building a 28 by 70 foot dorm. And actually what it is, he has a 70-foot trailer there that's 14 feet. We're going to encase that trailer, okay? He's in the process right now of gutting that trailer and making bathrooms out of it. And this dorm is obviously going to be for groups that come. The dorm will probably accommodate, 35, 40 different people. Right now he has groups that come, probably not that big, but he really doesn't have a lot of room to accommodate, and certainly no one the size of our group. So anyway, so we're going to be building a dorm for him, doing some painting, some interior work on the church. And hopefully we're going to be doing also, he's looking for projects for us. When we were there 3 and 4 trips back, we did a carnival there, and we also did a lot of building projects in the community, smaller projects, drywall, stuff like that. So he is supposed to be trying to find those projects, and it sounds like he's going to make that happen. So we're going to be doing work at his project, his facility, plus in the community as well. Moving down into Reynosa, Pastor Ray at Rural Bravo, his first house. Actually, if you drive into the complex, the far back left building is the first house that he built, okay, in that facility. This is the only house left that does not have the new type roof on. If you remember the corrugated red roof that he's putting on all the buildings, this is the only one that does not have that on yet. So that's going to kind of be our biggest project there. We're going to be building some pews. You remember the building that we put the roof on last year, the new dorm? It's an all-girls dorm. We went through that with him last week or so, and it's pretty well finished other than these floor tile, a few cosmetics yet to finish it up, and it's really turned out to be a nice looking building. But one of the things he needs this year for that is to have bunk beds. So we're going to be building him some bunk beds. He's got some painting, a lot of painting he needs to have done on site. Because of the situation in Mexico over the last few years, obviously groups have not come. And a lot of these groups, when they would come, he would kind of plug them in on the facility and help do the maintenance, stuff like that. Well, the buildings are under-maintained at this point, so we're going to be doing a lot of painting for him. Going back across the border at Border Mission, most of you probably don't know this, but there's a lady by the name of Sister Morgan that had actually, her and her husband started a Border Mission years ago, okay, and shortly after that, her husband died and she carried on the ministry. And now what is happening is they're still in existence. I mean, the ministry, the Border Mission, they still have people come across the border. They do feedings and minister to them. They have Sister Morgan's old house, which is pretty well run down. They've been wanting to, they have new directors there now, and they're wanting to demo these buildings, okay? So that's going to be one of our projects where we're going to have quite a few guys over demoing these buildings. That pretty much highlights most of the stuff we're doing. Like I said, it's going to be kind of labor intense. I feel real good about all the projects. I feel they're very doable. One other thing I don't, this is kind of not pertaining to, I was going to ask Doug if I could do this, but I'm sure it's okay. I've got the thing with Koinonia next week. Yeah. Okay. Right now I have like 6 guys. I'm trying to get like 8, 9 guys to get me a hand on this. It's putting up a fence. East Hills last summer did some community projects, and one of the projects was at this particular location putting up about, I think it was like 70 posts, fence posts. So the posts are all set. The church has the fence material, and I'm going to be picking up the other stuff donated by a local fence company. And so next Saturday, I'm looking for at least 3 more guys that can maybe give me a hand. We're going to meet East Hills 7:30, and hopefully we'll be done by 1 o'clock. And I've got plans for a nice little dinner afterwards. So anyway. If you don't mind coming out and working a little bit, getting some free food, let me know, okay?